All right. Managing moderators can support your channel in even more ways. Introducing managing moderators. These users have the same capabilities as standard moderators, but in addition, they can manage blocked words and change modes in live. All right. Well, that's cool. That's cool. What's going on, y'all? I am $1 Million Listener, Sleepy the producer here at Ascension Studios in what we now know as Revival Entertainment. This is a record label out of Memphis, Tennessee that houses a recording service that's called Ascension Studios. It's been a year now since we've been swinging them doors. Actually, April 1st marked a year, and we're very, very, very glad to be contributing to the creative community. I just wanted to talk about a few things, really just one main thing. I wanted to talk about some of my inspirations, what actually drove me, what got me to this spot. Not 100% everything, because that would take quite a bit of time, but I can talk about my inspirations and things that actually influenced me to be, who I am. Artist inspirations and influences, I would say, like, of course, music. There's specific types of music that definitely inspired me as a kid. I always was into the piano. My grandmother and my uncle, they both played the piano and sang. My grandmother, she played the organ. My great grandmother, she played the organ. So that was all in church. So I was able to see, it was like me watching a concert, watching my family play at a concert every Sunday. Because my grandfather, he would direct a choir, and he would also sing solos. Sometime my mom sang in the choir, but she didn't like really just feel like taking up that. She was more of a visual creative. But I definitely held on to the ear, and it's been with me. My grandfather, he pretty much handed it down to me from working with David Porter and Earth, Wind, and Fire and all them, like back when he was in high school. And the work that he did, it just provided a wide lane for me to just really literally walk up to the door and knock on it and say, hey, can you let me in? And based off my last name, I got in. Of course, I did some work prior to then to be ready for the position, but there was nothing that I could have done to have my grandfather do what he did to be able to make room for me. So, all those things go into play. And I always like to mention that, because it's not just about the work that you do, it's about the work that was done prior to be able to get you to where you are. So you always want to give an honorable mention to those who trailblazed before you. So I always give honor to my grandfather for doing what he did, for just having an interest in what he's done, having an interest in hearing things, hearing music, and loving to sing, to where I could actually just appreciate and take it on a step further. That's from my family. And then, of course, there are people who are friends of mine. When I was a kid in middle school, I used to rap with my friend Justin Lottie. I didn't cuss. We were like in 6th grade. So, and we had this group called the Clean Boys. The Clean Boys, we didn't cuss in our raps. It was me, Justin, and his little cousin Scooter. And I just had a bunch of raps, that's how I wrote songs. But actually, I because my grandfather and all that, I still was like making beats, but I didn't start writing songs until that point. That was about 6th grade. And then 7th, 8th grade, I met who's now my brother-in-law, ex-brother-in-law, or whatever. But he's my kid's uncle, Timon Clark, whose family is really great musicians in the city of Memphis. The Clark family. They are prominent musicians here, which is, quite natural. Timon, he had this Roland XP60 or something like that. And we were always looking musicians' friends books. Well, he would bring musicians' friends books when we were in like 7th grade or something like that. I had no idea how people even made beats and did stuff, but it was cool to me, I took the book. I'm doing well, man. I took the book and just was looking through it, saw all these things, all these $1,000 keyboards that, of course, a kid in 7th grade is looking like, oh my goodness, how I'm gonna come up with this kind of money, and I found out Manny Fresh was making beats on it and all kinds of producers. I never had an idea how they recorded beats and made music and stuff. And then because of Timon Clark, I was able to get more knowledge and dig in. So that's my kid's uncle, later on in life, how things actually end up up working. So that's super cool, right? Um, and later on, like around high school, about 9th, 10th grade, I come across a floppy disk. All right, I know I don't age. I don't age, y'all. So that is a attribute for my family as well. We don't age. I'm 38. When I got to high school, I had a floppy disk. A friend of mine named Quincy, he had a rap group named Unforgiven. It was a bunch of guys who he was working with out the neighborhood. And my friend Garrick Jordan, he was working with like a DR5 or something like that. Like, y'all probably never heard of these tools, but all of that to say, like, yeah, they got together, started rapping, and then I end up getting this floppy disk from Quincy, one of the guys from the group Unforgiven, and it had Fruity Loops 4 on it. Okay, so two things. First of all, Fruity Loops at that point, it was number 4. I mean, I think we're on like 22 now or something like that, version 22. But at the time, it was Fruity Loops 4, and I downloaded it on, like I said, from the floppy disk onto my computer, and that's how I ended up getting on Fruity Loops and learning it. And at the time, there was no sounds or anything like that. There was no sound packs. You couldn't go on Splice and download somebody else's beat and strip it and do all that stuff. My method, the way I learned how to make beats, I literally remade all the beats that I like. So that's how I actually learned how to use Fruity Loops, learned how to make beats. Like, all the beats that I ever liked, I remade them. And at the time, there was like Lil Jon and stuff like that. Lil Jon, I'm from Memphis, so a bunch of 3 6 Mafia stuff. We from a crazy city. A bunch of little stuff like that. And that was pretty it. Then to pretty much high school, right through high school, using FL. But I never wanted to become a music producer in high school. I always wanted to be a programmer. That was my whole thing, being a computer programmer. So I was always into, building apps and things like that. It wasn't apps at the time. It was like making programs and websites, HTML sites and stuff like that. That's love. That's love. That's love. It starts with one, man. It starts with one. Yeah. And so once I got to high school, I was on FL with the floppy disk. Then I get to college, right? So I graduate high school, go to college, and my roommate, he is, ironically, he's a rapper, right? So nigga, bum. No. No. So we end up, like, my roommate, he's a rapper, so I got beats because I've been remaking all these people's beats and stuff, right? So you got to have morals, man. You got to stand on something. I'm from a city to where, hey, man, people don't really care about money as you think. We don't really operate like that. We don't do that. But as we came along, I ended up getting this getting this program and working with my roommate, who is Taz. He's like a really popular bodybuilder and trainer here in the Mid-South, in the Tri-State. Worked with trainer for, of course, Yo Gotti and all those people like that. Like, really help him get into shape, get that belly off, all that good food, help him get it off his stomach. But I was working with Taz for a long time, making his beats, and that was through college. And then I graduated, and then the first opportunity we had, I got to give it up to Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy was the first rapper who gave us an opportunity to be on stage. So shout out to Soulja Boy. He was the first. This is when he was like writing on the glasses and writing on the shades, right? So shout out to Soulja Boy for being the first rapper to ever give Sleepy the producer and his people an opportunity to get on stage, for sure. Soulja, I can't forget you for that one. So, yeah. So that's college. Then later on, I end up working for BB King. How does that happen? So I'm at church because, you know, all the good musicians in Memphis, all the good music people, we all start off in church. We kind of make our way through there because there's so many churches in Memphis. It's so many churches in Memphis. I'm talking about like on a Sunday, you can make a week's salary. Like a lot of musicians on Sunday, they might play at 3 churches and make what you make in a week in that one day, you know. That's how serious the church business is in Memphis. So anyway, yeah, we just go through that, came through that. I ended up working BB King, working in church. I was like what 19, 20 or something like that. Became a head engineer down in BB King's, and that was super cool. You know, I loved it. I loved it. I did that for 10 years. Then right after that, after working with a guitar legend, um, I ended up working with a songwriting legend, songwriter, one of the best songwriters in history. You know, not because I say it, because the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame says it. So I ended up working side by side with David Porter, and um, that was a great experience. He put me on the line with so many great people. I always attribute him to putting me on the line with one of my favorite engineers, who is Dave Pensado, who is the original mold from who my second favorite engineer is, and that is Jason Joshua. So those are my two, and David Porter really put me on the line with those guys and put me in contact with them. So I appreciate him for that. You know, you got to appreciate people who help you align yourself with your dream. You know, you got to keep a good perspective about that. The next thing, so I end up working with David, and then right after that, from working with him, I end up working with Endless, and I mean like everybody in Endless. So there's not like a single, maybe probably somebody who they signed in most recent time, but there's no one on that label who I didn't work with. Went platinum with Bag during like the um, not Time Today. It was right before that. You Played, and 1, 2, 3, and um, Protecting the Brand, and all those. Probably like maybe about 75% of that album I recorded. So that was like my first platinum placement as an audio engineer, and like 20, that brought us up to like 2020. You know, 2020, 2021, COVID. We were deep in it, knees deep into COVID, like this deep, like knee deep in COVID. So um, right after that, it was like, all right, I started recording in my house, my living. I turned my, of course, you know, I had a little back room studio, but I took it to the next level, went to the front room, you know, used my living room as my recording studio, downgraded my space, um, became a teacher, music teacher for 2 years. That's 2022, 2023, no, 2020, 2022, 2023, 2023, 2024. And that was up to August of last year. I opened the doors up of this building in April 1st of last year, 2024. Last year, August 2024, was my last date as a teacher, as an educator, as a music teacher in the Memphis City school program. And yeah, we were talking about music, so I didn't put in like IT stuff that I was doing. So, and that's pretty much it. You know, it's been, you know, to the wall since then. So, you know, this month marks a year in business. I'm just giving you all a bit of an overview, a bit of history about me, some of my inspirations, you know, how I was led to this point. And I don't know, I just wanted you all to get a good dose, a good glimpse of who I am as we go on this journey. I got more content that I want to give to you all, you know, just doing this every day. If you like what you heard today, if you have any questions, if you interested about getting a song mixed, or you're interested in production, or you just want to have a good idea of some of the work that I've done, go ahead and leave a comment. You can find me also on IG at $1,000,000Listener. I am Sleepy the Producer. I am $1,000,000Listener. I am. So you just be. You are. So I'll just be. All right. Until next time, y'all, enjoy your day. Much love. I appreciate everyone who came in. Appreciate those likes. Appreciate those subs. All right. And I'll be back on tomorrow about the same time, 6 p.m. to say hello. All right. Peace.